Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Let's Talk About Sleep. You know, I got to mention the book here. When we get to 1,000 subscribers, a lucky viewer will get a signed copy of that from me. So keep a lookout for that as we approach 500. So we're halfway there. So this is the end of the month, and as you know, what we do on the end of the month is I answer all the questions and comments that have been coming through on the various social media platforms. So whether it be YouTube or Instagram or so on and so forth. So if you ask a question, thank you, or make a comment, thank you. I'm usually not going to write back to you, but I will answer you eventually. Okay. So thank you for everybody who has interacted with me in the last month or so. And, you know, for you guys out there, just ask questions. You know, I'll try to answer them as best I can in this format. So because there's been so many over the last month or so, for whatever reason, which I'm happy about, probably what we're going to do is we're going to do this in 2 or 3 parts. So this will be part 1, and then I'll make another one and another one with these answers to these questions. Okay, so as I always say, these videos are for educational purposes only. And yes, while I am giving specific feedback to somebody's question about their situation, it should be just for educational purposes only. Okay, that's it. If you like the channel, please click like, please subscribe. And without further ado, or any more blah blah, let's get going. Okay, so first, this is from video Sleep Restriction Therapy. And by the way, with all these, I will never use the full handle. I'll try to use part of it, or, you know, if someone gives their full name, I'll give maybe I'll use the first name or so. Even though these are public comments, I don't want to make them more public unless the person wants me to. Okay? So, from the Sleep Restriction Therapy video, Sean asks, I'm doing this right now. My window is 1 a.m. to 6:30 a.m., which is tough. Which basically what he's saying is that he's allowed to sleep from or spend time in bed from 1 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. Okay, and that's what we call cognitive behavioral. That's part of cognitive behavioral therapy called sleep restriction. You can watch that video about it. It's my first week and it's been very rough. Last night I didn't get any sleep, and now I just want to take a nap, even though I'm supposed to stay up to 1 a.m. I don't know how you're supposed to do this when you're already exhausted. Yeah, this is tough. This is why sleep restriction is so hard to do. That schedule, the 1 to 6:30, the idea of that is to get your sleep to be so good in that window of time. Once that's happened over a couple weeks, then to open that up to maybe, you know, instead of 1 to 6:30, maybe 12:45 to 6:30, and then 12:30 to 6:30. It's tough. It's a lot of people stop, so don't feel bad. It's not an easy thing to do. Whoever's prescribing this to you, though, or whoever's walking you through this, I'm assuming it's a cognitive behavioral therapist. You know, you can talk with them and have have a discussion, maybe come to a compromise. But chances are they're going to probably be hard fast about this regimen. It's hard to do. What I would recommend, though, is try to be as active as you can in the daytime. Okay, I know it's hard right now given the pandemic is still going on, and you know, but if you can get outside and go for a walk or do some exercise, I know me personally, anecdotally, that definitely helps me keep awake. Especially if you know, like, all right, I go through my whole day, I have my dinner, and then after dinner, man, that's really when it hits me. Try to circumvent that, you know, try to say, okay, I'm going to have my dinner, I'm going to go right outside immediately, okay, or I'm going to go for a run. That should help that issue, okay, but it's not easy, so don't feel bad. Thank you, though, for the question. Okay, next, German Shepherd Mom, to that response, she says, this happens to me too. I get 1 night a week of no sleep. Well, that's not getting a night of sleep at all. That sounds like a different problem, or part of the same. Or it sounds like a different problem, not because of cognitive behavioral therapy. It sounds like because part of cognitive behavioral therapy, there really should be no nights with no sleep. But it sounds like more of a chronic insomnia problem, which you definitely should look into. And she says, actually, next question: where do I look for a sleep specialist? Well, what I would start with, I don't know where you are, but what I would say is probably the best thing to do is, if you don't have somebody that your primary doctor necessarily has worked with or recommends, is an academic center. Okay, wherever you are, an academic center is going to have sleep specialists. Okay, I would start there, find a sleep specialist in an academic center. Depending on your insurance and coverage, you could even go to your insurance website and type in sleep specialist. And then the sleep specialist, they can certainly find out exactly what's going on. And like for me personally, I am not a psychologist, I'm a neurologist. I will refer people out to cognitive behavioral therapy if that's what we decide to do, or if we go the medication route or whatever else is going on, I'll take care of it. So I would say if you don't have somebody readily available, academic center is the way to go. Okay, you definitely will find a sleep specialist there. Okay, good question. And then Sean, to respond to that, writes, I did a Google search and put in cognitive behavioral therapy for me, near me, and then I checked the websites that people came up with CBTI. There were hardly any. You have to sign up with somebody and do them online. Exactly. So you definitely can find somebody for cognitive behavioral therapy. You know, a lot of people are doing virtual visits now. But I would say, you know, because we don't know exactly what your problem is, I would say start with a sleep specialist first. Okay, so either a PhD could potentially do it, but a nurse practitioner, a MD, or DO, whatever, start there, and then if they decide that you need cognitive behavioral therapy, because we just don't know based on this information, if they decide you need to do that, then they'll find somebody who can help you. Okay, I hope that helps to both you guys. All right, next comment. Next situation. Both Sean and German Shepherd Mom wrote on my video, Let's Talk About Medications, Trazodone. Thank you, both you guys, for interacting. So Sean wrote on this, tried Trazodone at 25 milligrams and it was awful. Made my anxiety worse, kept me awake also. Also made me feel super drugged the next day. That is a common thing. And I've said in my other Trazodone videos, hopefully you've watched them, that it's not for everybody, right? People have different side effects and respond to this medication specifically very, very differently. What I would say, though, at 25 milligrams, it is a low dose. So it may have been, and I've seen this in my patients too, it may have not done anything for you, right? It may have been completely just did nothing, and as a result of that, you're expecting it to work, you're expecting it to just go right to sleep, and those things did not happen. Guess what happens? And your anxiety ramps up. Not because of the medication itself, but because the medication really hasn't been doing anything for you, and it makes it almost like worse. Okay, so what I would say is if you don't want to try it again, totally understand, but if I was seeing you, probably what I would say is let's try it at a higher dose and see how you do. Okay, the feeling drugged the next day, that tends to abate or at least reduce the more you use it. Okay, and then German Shepherd Mom says my dog has been prescribed this before a vet visit. Yeah, it makes sense, right? Because it is a medication that would help reduce anxiety, which is good in a short term because it's not like many of these other antidepressants that are out there that take weeks to build up in your system. Trazodone we can use as a night-to-night basis, okay, or a day-to-day basis in the case of a dog, okay, which is why I use it a lot and why it's a very attractive medicine in this situation. But it's not for everybody, okay? All right, so I think we're almost 10 minutes here. I think that this is good for this video. I have a bunch of other questions I'm going to get to. Like I said, I'll make either two more parts or one more part. We'll see how quickly we move along. But these are all great questions, great comments, so keep them coming. And be on the lookout for part 2 and maybe part 3, depending on how we go. All right, so thank you guys. Thank you for everybody who interacted. More to come. If you like this video, please click like, please share it with your friends and family, and please subscribe. All right, until next time, sleep well.